The wealthy Go family hires Lee Eun-yi as a live-in maid and nanny to assist Hyare, who is pregnant with twins, and her daughter Nami. The head of the house, Go-hoon, a man of quiet authority, greets Eun-yi and observes her closely, noting her importance as the person who will care for his children and prepare his food. Hera's mother, known as the formidable madam, frequently visits, exerting her influence over the household. Eun-yi, an ostensibly naive and quiet young woman, quickly settles into the lavish, cold, and rigidly controlled environment. One evening after Hyare has gone to sleep, Hoon subtly invites Eun-yi to leave her bedroom door open. He then enters her room and seduces her. Despite her initial nervousness, Eun-yi complies with his requests and they begin a secret, purely physical affair. Hoon is detached and demanding, treating Eun-yi as a possession while she remains submissive, never uttering a word of complaint or resistance. Hyare, already stressed by her high-risk pregnancy and the immense pressure to deliver healthy twin heirs, becomes increasingly fragile. The household staff, particularly the older maid Mrs. Cho, notice changes in Eun-yi. Her aversion to certain foods and swollen breasts lead Mrs. Cho to suspect the young maid is pregnant. Mrs. Cho, loyal to the family, reports her suspicions to the madam. The madam, a shrewd operator, is not immediately concerned, believing Eun-yi to be too simple and easily managed to cause real trouble. The situation escalates dramatically when a highly agitated Hyare attempts to hang herself from a second-floor banister after an argument with her mother, collapsing from the railing with only Eun-yi and Mrs. Cho present. While at the hospital for her injuries, Eun-yi is admitted for her own checks. The tests confirm she is approximately 4 weeks pregnant. The doctor, seeing her alone, suggests the child's father is her boss and urges her to be brave. The madam immediately takes charge. She visits Hyare, telling her that cheating is an expected part of a rich man's life and that she must endure it just as the madam did to secure her status and her children's future. The family's priority is damage control. Hera's father-in-law sends Eun-yi a large consolation sum of money, a standard way their family resolves problems. The madam ensures Hoon is sent abroad on a business trip to remove him from the chaos. Mrs. Cho is chastised and threatened by Hyare for gossiping about the affair. Eun-yi is now aware of her pregnancy and the family is aware of the situation. The madam, deciding to deal with the pregnancy, subtly pressures Eun-yi to terminate it. She brings Eun-yi a tonic, feigning concern but insinuating it is for a miscarriage. Hyare also confronts Eun-yi, feigning remorse for her earlier actions and giving her a bottle of herbal medicine which Eun-yi is forced to drink in bed. Eun-yi, realizing the medicine is likely an abortifacient, swallows it under duress. Still, Eun-yi remains quiet. In a conversation with the older maid, she reveals her fear and states her intention to quit. Mrs. Cho, now completely defeated by the madam's authority and her own years of service, has a breakdown, screaming the acronym RUNS. Revolting, ugly, nauseating, and shameless, to describe her life and job. The madam, overhearing the commotion, orders Eun-yi to leave immediately without telling anyone. Eun-yi packs her things but does not leave the house. Instead, she goes to the nursery where Hyare is resting. Nami is already in the room reading an unsettling fairy tale to her unborn siblings. In a chilling act of defiance, Eun-yi takes a lit candelabra and locks the nursery door from the outside, trapping Hyare, the children, and herself inside the burning room. As the family gathers below in horror, Eun-yi stands by the window. She uses a thick rope to hang herself right outside the nursery, seemingly in front of Hoon, who has returned from his trip. The final scene shows the Go family members standing by a large Christmas tree, quietly sipping their drinks, completely composed as if nothing has happened, while Nami plays on the piano, concluding the horrific episode with a profound silence. The formidable Madam Mother-in-law to Hyare outlines the danger of Eun-yi's pregnancy. She argues that even a substantial payment will not stop Eun-yi from causing trouble and becoming a lifelong hindrance to Hoon and the children, particularly the newborn twins and Nami. The madam is determined to force Eun-yi to have an abortion immediately, framing it as the only path back to peace for the entire family. Hoon is sent away on a business trip, allowing the women of the house to manage the problem without his interference. Eun-yi is called into a meeting with Hyare and the madam. Hyare attempts to physically assault Eun-yi, an act of petty revenge, before the madam calmly lays out their offer, a substantial check in exchange for an abortion. The madam minimizes the pregnancy, coldly stating the fetus is nothing and can be cut off like a cyst. Eun-yi is silent, merely asking how they knew about the baby. Hyare scoffs, believing Eun-yi to be too attached to the idea of having a child to accept any amount of money. Eun-yi is moved from her private room near the children to Mrs. Cho's small separate quarters, effectively placing her under house arrest and surveillance. Before she moves, she shares the news of her baby with Nami, who is sweet and supportive, hoping the baby will be a girl like her. Nami also apologizes to Eun-yi, confessing she saw her grandmother, the madam, intentionally push the ladder that led to Eun-yi's fall, not realizing at the time that the fall might have harmed the baby. This revelation confirms Eun-yi's suspicions about the family's malice. Hyare gives birth to the twin boys. After the delivery, she is extremely sensitive and quickly becomes consumed by her anger and paranoia about Eun-yi. In a rage, she confronts Hoon, who has returned home. She demands to know how he could betray her with the maid who washes her underwear, but he casually dismisses the transgression. Later, a desperate Eun-yi corners Hoon in the wine cellar. She confesses she is pregnant, that the ladies of the house want her to have an abortion, but she is determined to keep the baby. She pleads with him to acknowledge the child and let her leave quietly. Hoon, moved by her distress, embraces her and seemingly promises to let her have the baby. Moments later, however, he betrays her. As she is in pain, he gives her a powerful injection which later leads to a miscarriage. Hoon then reports back to his mother implying he has taken care of the issue. Ian Yi is taken to the hospital by Mrs. Cho. Hoon demands to know if the baby is completely erased. The family, upon learning of the miscarriage, starts to panic when Hoon questions whether the child was truly his. When the madam learns Hyare had a hand in the miscarriage, she is furious, worried about the legal risks of a forcible abortion. At the hospital, Ian Yi is met by her mother, who urges her to take the money and move on. Mrs. Cho, finally breaking down, confesses that she knew about the pregnancy and that Ian Yi's fate was sealed the moment she returned from the first hospital visit. She apologizes, saying she has become spineless from her years of service and that it's in her bones to serve. Ian Yi returns to the house one last time. In a climactic silent act of defiance, she walks past a hysterical Mrs. Cho, who has just quit her job, in a loud burst of runs rage. Ian Yi goes to the nursery where Hyare, the twins, and Nami are. She takes a candelabra, sets the room on fire, and then locks the door, trapping everyone inside. She climbs out a window, throws the remaining money she was offered into the burning room, and then hangs herself from the rope outside the window for the entire family, including Hoon, who arrives home at that moment to witness her suicide. A final horrifying act completes the cycle of abuse and silent rebellion. The final scene jumps forward to Nami's birthday several years later. The family is assembled, composed and pristine, celebrating as if nothing had ever happened. Nami receives a large gift from her father, a black sports car named Roberto, the same model Hoon was admiring in an earlier scene. The family raises a toast, continuing their wealthy, untouchable existence, having completely erased Ian Yi and the violent events from their present. The family's attempt to resolve the issue with Ian Yi after her forced miscarriage showcases the true depth of their cold, calculated cruelty and sense of untouchable entitlement. After her ordeal, the wealthy Go family's primary concern is not the maid's well-being or the loss of a life, but rather the logistical cleanup and the potential for scandal. Hoon is less concerned with the moral implications of what was done to Ian Yi than with the abstract principle of whether the baby was his. If it was, he feels entitled to his progeny. The madam, the mastermind, is only briefly shaken by the legal risk of Hyare's impulsive poisoning, but she quickly regains control, ensuring Ian Yi is swiftly and permanently ejected from the house. While recovering from the forced termination, Mrs. Cho's tearful confession to Ian Yi is a pivotal moment. Mrs. Cho reveals that she, the older maid, was the one who first told the madam about Ian Yi's pregnancy, effectively initiating the horrific chain of events. More devastatingly, she confirms that the family's actions were deliberate and that the madam knew about the pregnancy even when she engineered Ian Yi's fall down the stairs. Mrs. Cho, ashamed but unable to break free of her servitude, apologizes, stating that her own life has been a cycle of revolting and shameless service, and that people like them are simply not equipped to fight against the power of the rich. This conversation solidifies Ian Yi's motivation. Her passive submission transforms into a singular desire for revenge. She accepts that she cannot win against the family on their terms of money or power. Her revenge, therefore, must be an act that targets the one thing they cannot control or buy their way out of: their mental peace and sense of security. Ian Yi, with a newfound terrifying clarity, returns to the house. She briefly confronts Hoon and Hyare. In a moment that merges her maternal loss with her desire for retribution, she is found breastfeeding one of the newborn twins, an act that is both perverse and deeply symbolic of the child she was denied and the shame she intends to inflict. Hyare, hysterical, demands Mrs. Cho throw her out, but Mrs. Cho, having finally found her own limit, screams, "I quit," and walks out for good. Ian Yi's ultimate act is meticulously planned to maximize the family's suffering. She gathers the family, including Nami, in the main hall. She climbs onto the chandelier that symbolizes the house's oppressive luxury and the very spot of her earlier near-fatal fall. She addresses the family, expressing the unbearable horror of what happened and her inability to live with it. As the family watches in helpless horror, Ian Yi hangs herself, her body swinging from the chandelier above their opulent living room. In a final gruesome flourish, she sets herself on fire as she dies, ensuring the memory of her death will be a horrifying, indelible spectacle for all of them. The film concludes with an unsettling epilogue set some time later. The Go family is celebrating Nami's birthday outdoors in the snow. They are speaking English and their demeanor is unnervingly composed and detached. Hoon gives Nami a black car as a gift and Hyare sings "Happy Birthday" in an exaggerated theatrical style. Nami, though present, is quietly observant. The scene suggests that Ian Yi's dramatic self-sacrificial act of revenge ultimately failed to destroy the family's privileged existence. Their wealth and social position serve as an insulating shield against any lasting consequences. The final lingering shots of Nami, who was genuinely kind to Ian Yi, suggest she may be the only one who retains a lingering scar from the maid's brutal end, leaving the audience to question whether the family's corruption is total or if some small sliver of humanity remains disturbed by the ghost of their past. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.